Welcome everybody to episode 33 of the Canuckleheads podcast. Shout out to Hendricks and Ian. My name is Justin. I'm joined by my co-host Mr. Wes, and we have real regular season puck to talk about. So we'll just start off with the games here. We did miss the score prediction last week. We forgot about it. We're still a little bit rusty, I guess. So the Canucks kick off their season in Edmonton for the fourth year in a row. October 12th, 2022. Thatcher Demko and Jack Campbell get the starts. These are the first NHL games for Kuzmenko and Niels Oman, so congratulations to both of those two guys.
Yeah.
We had a goal from Elias Pettersson 2 minutes into the game. He just read the play so well. He picked off a pass from, I think it was Dylan Holloway from the Oilers, right at the blue line, walked in, and then just like a beautiful move, just kind of went around Campbell and fought for the puck. Knew he was going to get kind of crushed by one of the Oilers' D-men, but he stuck in there and poked the puck in behind Campbell.
Yep.
We've been talking about it for a while that we both think Petey's in for a big year, and for him to score the first goal of the year, his first goal of the year, 2 minutes into the game, on a hard nose go to the net play where he knew he was going to take a hit like that. To me, that was a statement goal from Petey there.
100%. That's exactly how I felt. Just a definite statement.
Yeah, like when you think of Elias Pettersson goals, you think of snipes or just brutal one-timers. This was a take the puck to the net and just jam it in goal.
Yeah.
Then we had a goal from JT Miller, who sniped it glove side on a good pass from Brock Besser. So again, two other guys that are important pieces to the team that are kicking it off quickly.
Yeah.
Brock, you want to see him score goals, but at this point it's nice just to have him back for the first game of the year and playing big minutes. This was just a nice shot from JT Miller. Just beat Jack Campbell, who looked pretty shaky for the first period and a half or so, I would say.
Yeah.
So after the first, it was 2-0 Vancouver. And it was basically the best, not the best, but a great first period. You couldn't really ask for much more out of the Canucks in this.
No.
They showed jump. They looked like they wanted the puck. They were getting to pucks quicker.
Yeah.
And to have 2 goals early on the road was big.
Yeah.
At the time.
All the talk was we want to come out of the gate strong. We want to start fast. Well, we definitely started fast in this one.
Then in the third period, the Canucks started on the power play, and we had a goal from Kuzmenko, scoring his first career goal on a great pass from JT Miller. This looked like it just kind of caught Campbell off guard. He didn't really move, and Kuzmenko just kind of tapped it in the net.
Yeah.
I don't remember if you said this or not, or if I heard it on TV, but I did hear somebody say there was no big celebration. He acted like he's scored goals before. And I like that a lot too, because everything we've seen from him, he's kind of got a big personality and seems like a pretty energetic, happy-go-lucky kind of guy. So I do like that. It was just kind of all business when he scored that goal.
Yeah, and I like the little give and go play too. He just dishes Millsy, weaves right into the net, right into the open area, and JT Miller just threads it, and it was so nice.
Again, another go to the net, stick on the ice kind of play.
Yeah.
So in this period, the Canucks were on the penalty kill. And this is important because this is kind of where the game changed. I believe it was Evander Kane got Quinn Hughes with a high stick, busted him open, he was bleeding. Should have been a 4-minute power play for the Canucks. Instead, there's no call. Connor McDavid, this isn't really a penalty or anything, just something of note, kind of throws Quinn's stick aside, uses his stick and shoves it aside, so it takes him out of the play further once he kind of regains his bearings. And then the Oilers score. So, yes, the Canucks were, shitty in the last half of this game, but that's a big turning point for me. When the refs miss a call like that, where, at the end of this game, the Canucks power play was 1 for 8, I believe. So maybe that doesn't factor in. Maybe they don't score, but Edmonton doesn't get that goal and doesn't get rolling.
Yeah.
To me, that's where this game turned around.
100%. And it just really, really sucked because from our angle, obviously, we're not on the ice. It was so hard to miss that.
Yeah.
And usually you'll still see a linesman or someone throw an arm up, even if it's late, because you can clearly see the guy was high-sticked. No call at all.
Yeah.
And, I know there was lots of penalties back and forth and this and that, but there were some soft ones called in that game, and that was not a soft penalty whatsoever.
Yeah.
Should have been called 110%. It just really sucked.
Yeah, sometimes you get those, and I'm not saying guys fake it, but a stick goes past your face and you kind of just react, right?
We've seen a couple already.
Which is, I'm not blaming anybody for that, but this hit him in the face. He was bleeding.
Yeah.
You should not have not called that. That should have been a penalty.
Oh, I thought he had a broken nose at first because he was leaking pretty good, but
Yeah.
then obviously he came back. He didn't have a broken nose, but
Yeah, so this was 3-3 after 2, and Edmonton was just striking on the power play so quick. Like, the one thing you can't do against this Oilers team is take penalties, because that power play is just, it's like, we've never seen a power play this good before.
yeah, the passing play that led to the goal was just ridiculous.
Yeah, when you have McDavid and Draisaitl on the power play and you give them that extra time and space, it's just, there's no chance.
And Hyman's real good there too, man.
Yes.
Like, he's lightning on that power play as well.
So yeah, this was a 5-3 loss for the Canucks. And like we said, it was just, to me, like, it was just the Quinn Hughes no call was just egregious.
Yeah, that was the knife in the back right there, and then it just...
Yeah, and the Canucks were not good in the third. Like, you could tell, like... And even when they were up 3-0, there at no point was I ever like, this game's over. Like, the Oilers just have so much firepower. I was just like, okay, this is good, but, like, you can't ease up at all. Like, you just have to keep pushing against this team until that final whistle.
Yeah, and one thing that I don't really like that it seems like our team does is we get a lead, and then we just try and hold that lead.
Yeah.
No, step on their neck and keep scoring goals. Do not let up. And it seemed like we let up and just tried to carry that little 3-goal lead. Dumb idea, but whatever.
Yeah, like, you look at, like, the Colorado Avalanche, right? If they're up 4-2, they're not coasting. They want it 5-2, then they want it 6-2, right? Like, there's just you have to have that, like, killer step on their throat mentality. Yeah. And this team hasn't shown it yet. I mean, we'll get to this next game here too.
Yeah.
Vancouver at Philly, October 15th, 2022. Early afternoon game for the Canucks. Thatcher Demko and Carter Hart getting the starts. In the first, we had a goal from Kyle Burroughs with a snipe from the top of the circle. This one, to me, looked like it went off a Philly defender's stick, but it was a nice shot either way. Like,
looked like a PD rocket
it
into
really
the top
did.
shelf.
And, like, good for Burroughs too, right?
Yeah.
Like, a guy who we talked about might have not had definitely didn't have a roster spot locked down in training camp, and has earned his way into the roster the first 2 games and scored a goal. Yeah. And looked really good too. Like, at no point in his entire year and a bit here with the Canucks now have I ever looked at Kyle Burroughs and be like, man, he had a bad game. Yeah, like, he's always been good.
Always an energy piece. He always brings that, man. He never fails there.
Yeah. And then also in the first, we had a goal from Connor Garland. Went lower blocker. Assisted Podkolzin, who showed, like, great patience with the puck, kind of skated into the dangerous area, spun away from a flyer and found Garland, and just a great shot from Connor.
And it was kind of funny because Justin did mention that was like a Garland pass from Pods. Yeah. So it's good to see both of those two always just working off of each other.
And Pods has been good these 2 games too.
Man, his passing ability is, like, playmaking ability in general is way better than last year. It looks like already.
He seems so much more comfortable. Like, he's just carrying off from where he left off last year.
Yeah.
At the last half of the year anyway. So this was 2-0 Vancouver after 1. In the second, there was no Tucker Poolman to start the second, and he didn't come back for this game.
Which is a big concern.
I didn't see what happened. I don't remember seeing him get hit or anything, but, you know, if it's Tucker Poolman, we're all assuming concussion, right? So this, like, it kind of super sad. Like, you got to wonder at this point, like, is it best for him to just
call it?
Yeah, like, shut it down, because, you know, if you can't take contact like that in a high contact sport, like, you're just endangering yourself. So
no, 100%. And it also, like, when we keep bringing him in, and it sucks to kind of say this, but it does suck for us to keep bringing him into the lineup, and then he keeps leaving us a D-man short.
Yeah.
And then it just puts us down a leg to even win the game. And it sucks to say that, but it's like, man, if you can't make it through a game, then...
Yeah, like, if A, he's a liability to the team, but B, it's, you know, for his own personal health. Like,
100%.
Well, so we'll see if there's any announcements. Obviously, we'll cover it in the podcast here, but, you know, we just hope he's okay. I just hope it's not a concussion, right?
Yeah.
Because, again, with him, that's the first thing you think of.
Yeah.
So this was 2-2 after 2, and then in the third we had a fight. Kyle Burroughs and Nick Delaurier was just kind of like a little tussle. There was no bombs thrown. Burroughs got hit in the head the back of the head a couple times, but nothing major.
You could tell Burroughs was trying to keep the distance close because if Delaurier lands those bombs on you, man, she's good night. So I'm just proud of Burroughs for standing up to him. And
Nick Delaurier is a tough guy.
100%, and getting a spark for our team, because it seemed like at points we're a little bit flat.
Yeah.
So Burroughs was trying to get some energy to the
Yeah.
boys.
And then Canucks wound up losing this one 3-2 in regulation.
Yeah.
We talked about this. We watched this game together, which we shouldn't have done because there's some kind of curse when Wes and I watch games together.
Yeah.
This was just a copy paste from the Oilers game where the Canucks come out good and then they just that's it. It's like they use all their gas in the first period and a half and then
and we did definitely have a better third period in this one, but we just couldn't bury any of our chances, and it was super frustrating to watch just because, like Justin said, it was very reminiscent of the Oilers game, and it's like 2 in a row, man.
Yeah, especially after weeks and weeks of, they say they know they can't have a bad start to the year, and we lose 2 games that we have multiple goal leads in.
Yeah, it's unacceptable. And for this next game, I want to see Spencer Martin start the next game, and then there's a back-to-back. So then put Demko in the next
we'll
one.
definitely see Martin at some point in the next 2
one
weeks
of the
here,
two. I'd like to see him start the next game. They'll put a different goalie, because I think sometimes it was the same thing with Markstrom. We're too confident in our goalie, so we let too many shots through.
Yeah.
And guys have been trying to block shots the past couple games and stuff like that, but I just feel like they could be doing more. JT Miller has been completely soft in his defensive end.
SAWFT, soft.
Terrible, man. And he's down on himself because he knows he can play better than that. He knows he's not playing his best hockey. Bo knows he's not playing his best hockey. It's just extremely frustrating.
Yeah, it's a tough point, right? We talked about this too because Wes and I basically spent the entire weekend together.
Yeah.
So we talked Canucks a lot. I felt like our center position was a strength of the team this year.
Yeah. Because
we have 3 guys that are... Like, if you give JT Miller and Bo the tough matchups, that frees up Petey, who will feast on 99% of the league, I think.
Yeah.
But Bo and JT just haven't found that gear yet. So I'm confident they will. It's just the way last season started out and how this season is starting out. You can't help but worry being a Canucks fan, right?
Yeah.
Like, we were buried 15 games into the year last year. We were done. Like, that was it. And we're 0-2 right now to start the first 2 games. Like, not even a point. There's no OT losses or anything. So it's like you got to right this ship fast because in Vancouver, like, people are just going to, like, the media, they're going to eat it alive, and it's just going to piss the players off because they're going to hear about it constantly.
Yep, and I did like that Boudreaux said he is going to switch up the lines. I think that needs to happen. And I've been saying it all along, folks. You guys have heard me. Tanner Pearson should not be on the first 2 top lines. And look at him go. He just keeps weaseling his way on in there. In my opinion, he's not the most offensive guy out there. Sure, he's a good 2-way player. That's exactly why he fits in on the 3rd and 4th line. We need goal scorers. We need dangerous guys on those first 2 lines. And sure, maybe Hoglander's the guy that would slot in for him, and he's not the biggest goal scorer, but he knows how to put the puck in front of the net for a goal scorer to put it in. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Speaking of Hoglander, too, in the first game against the Oilers, he had like 4 or 5 great chances too.
If he doesn't bury the next pass from Petey, he doesn't deserve to play with Petey anymore because holy man, did he get some looks from Petey. Just disgusting passes.
But he's getting those passes, right? Like, so to me, that says he's going to the right areas. For me, it's just a matter of time. Like, he'll get one, he'll break through. Like, I'm not worried about Hogs. He's been noticeable at least too, right? Like, and not for bad reasons.
No.
I've noticed him on the back check too. I do think his defensive game is improving, which is nice. But yeah, they're like at forward, there's only been a handful of Canucks that I feel like are really going right now.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where we need to kick it into high gear because I feel like the defense played good against Connor McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's such a tough matchup for anybody in the NHL, for any defenseman.
Yeah.
And, like, as a group, like, Edmonton, I think, only had power play goals. Maybe an empty netter or something, I can't remember.
And a shorthanded, always special teams on the ice when they're scoring, basically.
Yeah, but yeah, you look at, like, McDavid's goals, there was, like, 2 power play goals and an empty netter, so, like...
Yeah.
5-on-5, they did a good job. Like, you can't ever shut Connor McDavid down, but they did a good job slowing him down. It's just the special teams killed him.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, like we were saying, there's only a handful of Canucks that I feel like are going. Petey, Kuzmenko, I think, are going. Garland and Pods are going.
Mm-hmm.
Hoglander's been pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
The 4th line has been, like... They've been okay. I feel like against the Oilers, there were just so many special teams that we didn't see much of them.
Yeah.
In Philly, they were all right. So
yeah,
I do like Lazar too. Lazar's been good.
Yeah, but outside of that, like, even Boudreaux made mention of the fact that, like, our leaders aren't really leading right now. And that's a big no-no. Like, honestly, just take that A off Oliver Ekman-Larsson's sweater, slap it on Petey's, and he'll carry us home. He'll take us to the motherland. I know he will.
I don't think OEL's been bad.
No, but he hasn't been great either.
I think I'd rather take the A off JT if he's the way he's been playing. So, side note too, let's get to JT Miller right now.
Yeah,
so
plus minus.
The Canucks have played 2 games, 6 periods. JT Miller's been on the ice for 8 goals against. This is a guy who, after he signed his contract, talked about how he wants to be tough to play against at both ends of the ice. And I get it that it's only 2 games, but we talked about this in preseason. I said I wasn't worried. Wes, you were concerned, so I think you were right. Didn't look like he was trying in preseason, which, like, now I'm completely on your side. Like, PD was going in preseason.
Yeah.
And he started great. PD's been one of the best Canucks so far.
Yeah.
JT Miller and Bo both looked like they were just out there for a skate.
Shells of themselves.
They still look like they're just out there for a skate right now. Like, I've kind of changed my tune on this preseason thing where, like, next year, everybody should be going like it's like your life depends on it, you know?
Because that's the time you work out the kinks.
Yeah.
If you're not trying to work out the kinks in the preseason, guess what? You carry them straight into the regular season. And all that talk about hot start, this and that, and then you come out like this, now you look like a fool. Now you look like you're just talking. And I don't like that.
Yeah, and especially in Vancouver, right? Like, all these guys know how the media is, right? And it's such a rabid fan base for hockey.
Yeah.
It's a pretty knowledgeable, like, fan base too. So, like, you can't hide from it.
No.
And like, I get it's a bit exaggerated, right? Because Connor McDavid is Connor McDavid. He's gonna put up numbers.
Yep.
It's kind of just unfortunate JT was on the ice for all those goals. But in Philly, like, that's a team that's on paper not the best. Like, no offense, Philly fans, but you know, you should have beat them. Yep. JT Miller should have had a good game against those guys, and it wasn't like that at all.
And that's the thing, when your game isn't where it should be, make up for it in other areas. Throw big hits, maybe get a scrap in. Like, I know JT Miller's not supposed to be caving guys' heads in out there, but maybe he has to change things up a little bit in order to be more effective out there while his game's not tight. It really frustrates me when you just see him just kind of out there. He's not really creating any danger, and then all of a sudden the Kuzmenko play and his goal in the Oilers game, I was like, okay, maybe he's picking it up, and then in the Philly game he was just like, I don't know, it's got my head just in circles right now.
It's almost like he looked at that on the schedule and was like, okay, well, that's an easy win. I don't have to try here.
Yeah.
And, like, that's not how it is. Like, there's there's bad teams in the NHL.
It's the NHL, though.
But there's no easy nights.
No.
Like, you always have to be going and trying. And like Wes said earlier, the Canucks have mixed up the lines in practice, which Miller was playing with Pods and Garland, which I like a lot because I feel like those 2 guys are going to drag him into the fight, which kind of seems like we need right now.
Yeah.
Because we need JT Miller.
100%.
He's a huge part of the team.
Yeah.
Like we said before, like, even if he's not a 99-point guy, we still feel like he's like a
70 plus.
Yeah.
Like, even if you put up 75 this year, I'd be pumped. I wouldn't even care. I'm not looking for 100 points every season. I know that's not attainable for most players in the NHL. It's just, I feel obviously like he can easily do 60 plus points every season from now on.
And, you know, like, PD has that potential to maybe be like one of those 99, 100-point players. But, like, the way the Canucks are right now, it kind of feels like we just have a lot of, like, the 60 to 40-point guys.
Yeah.
Like, you win as a team, right? Like, not just like the McDavid show kind of.
Yeah.
I guess he has Draisaitl, but, you know, like, we don't rely on one player outside of Thatcher Demko to win us games. And Demko's been great too. He's been hung out to dry on like all these goals. Like,
and I really hated seeing his interview after the Philly game. He was just glum, man. You could tell he was just pissed, and it would be super frustrating to feel like my game's where it needs to be, but you know what I mean? Like, I can only do so much.
Especially after last year, right, where he gets 30-shot game after 30-shot game, and he's standing on his head, and, you know, he's the reason we're in a playoff race at all. Like, we're doing the same thing to him again this year. We're not giving him any support right now.
Yeah.
And it's super unfair because he's so good. Like, if you score 3 goals, I feel like with Thatcher Demko, you should be able to win the game.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, it's not off to a good start.
Yeah, so again, we're kind of right where we were at this time last year, talking about poor starts and winless games.
But that's why I'm so frustrated too, is
Yeah.
because all the talk. Like, I'm a big MMA fan. You don't just go out there and run your mouth. You got to show it in the cage. You know what I mean? And that's what they got to do. They've ran their mouth this whole off season, this whole preseason. It's time to get the hell out on the ice and prove it.
60 minutes.
Yeah.
Again, I think we talked about this a lot last year. Like, have a complete game.
Yeah.
Even if they lose tomorrow night, like, if they compete the whole game,
then you can.
I'm kind of all right with it. Obviously,
Yeah.
I won't be happy. I want to win, but like.
Our second period is our softest period, no doubt about it. We need to clean that shit up.
All right, we're gonna go over some news here now. So October 13th, 2022, the Abbotsford Canucks named Chase Waters the first captain in team history. So congratulations to Chase Waters, former captain of the Saskatoon Blades. In case you're new to the show, that's where we live in Saskatoon. We shoot from Saskatoon, so kind of cool there.
Yeah.
Also, October 13th, 2022, the Canucks announced that Kevin Bieksa will sign a one-day contract to retire as a Canuck. And he'll be honored at November 3rd, 2022, when the Canucks host the Anaheim Ducks.
Love Bieksa.
So, appropriate that it's on the 3rd.
Yeah.
War
his
number 3
number.
with the Canucks.
Yeah.
Appropriate that it's against the Ducks, his other team.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is just well-deserved. He was a very underrated defenseman.
Heart and soul type guy.
Absolutely. And funny enough, a guy that I don't think we've been able to replace since he left.
Yep.
People forget because he kind of played in the golden era of Canucks defensemen, but he had 2 40-point seasons. He fought, he would score, he would stick up for his
Superman
teammate.
punch knockout.
Throwing hits. Kevin Bieksa was everything you wanted in a defenseman.
Yeah.
And a righty, top 4 guy.
And now an analyst, killing it as an analyst too.
Yes.
I love hearing his opinion
I
on
do too.
anything about the Canucks because he just nails it every time.
I enjoy his opinion on anything hockey related. And even when he talks about the Canucks, he's not
biased.
a homer,
and,
maybe 10% or something, but he's still he'll rip the team when they suck, which is good. So and then lastly, October 16th, 2022, which is today we're shooting this, the Canucks announced that Sheldon Dries and Noah Juleson have been recalled from Abbotsford. So kind of seems like we're not expecting Pullman back anytime soon.
Yeah.
Not entirely sure why Dries was recalled, but just an option, I guess.
Yeah, we need to see Rathbone get in this next game here.
Yes.
And we need to see him have a big role in this game because I feel like it's an element we need more of, those breakout passes and just controlling the puck in our zone and breaking it out the right way. He's the guy to do it.
Yeah, the physically, we got some bangers on the blue line.
Yeah.
I get that the team wants to be a tougher team to play against, but at the same time, you need those puck movers, right? And, you have Hughes, OEL, Rathbone.
Yep.
You got a puck mover on every single pairing.
Exactly. And then you kind of got a tough guy on every pairing with Shen, Burroughs. And, you don't really have a tough guy on the third pairing, but it is what it is.
Stillman can fill that role, though.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I guess. I forgot about Stillman. Yeah. He actually... He can throw the boom and he can fight, so... Yeah,
and that was the pairing in practice today was Stillman and Rathbone. So.
Yeah, and I should mention, too, I really liked Stillman's game in that last game. I thought he played pretty well. I didn't see any, glaring mistakes, which is nice.
Just been solid. I have liked his game, too. Let's go over our score predictions for next week here, Wes. So, tomorrow, the Canucks are at Washington. Be a tough one. The Caps are good. There's currently the Capitals are 1 and 2 right now. So what do you think, Wes?
We have to take a W. Of course we're on the road. It's not that far of a trip though, so the boys can't really use excuses all the time here with being on the road and this and that. And I think everyone's kind of down on themselves right now, so it's kind of hard to get up for a game and get a win. But I think we're going to get a win, but I think it's going to be a tight game, 3-2 for the Vancouver Canucks.
Ooh, man. See, I want to be realistic about this, but I want to give them a win. 4-2 Caps.
Yeah. That's how we've been playing, honestly. Watch, we'll get 2 goals in the first period.
Yeah.
Caps will come back and score a freaking 4 goals and win the game, so who knows.
Next, we are in Columbus, November 18th. I'm going to give this one 5-3 Vancouver.
I like that. I think Columbus, yeah. I'm trying to think. Is Line out of the lineup?
He is, yeah. He's out
out
for
of
a
the
couple
lineup,
weeks.
eh? that score prediction. I'll go 3-1 Vancouver Canucks.
Then we are our home opener, November 20th, Minnesota in the house. Gonna be a tough game. Minnesota's good. They got that good first line with Kaprizov.
Yeah.
What do you think the score is gonna be, Wes?
This is a home game?
Yes.
First home opener. That's a must win, isn't it?
I think so.
We haven't scored more than 3 goals. That's why I haven't put my prediction over 3 yet. It's probably going to be a pretty tight game, though. They got some tough guys, hard guys to play against. 2-1 Vancouver Canucks.
That's not bad. I'm going to go 3-2 Canucks. I feel like they'll have some juice in this one. It will be a tight game, like you said, but I don't want to give them a loss on a home opener.
Yeah.
Then they play Buffalo at 8, so we'll probably do the podcast before then, so that'll be in our next week.
Yeah.
Let's do our Canucks of the week here. Wes, who do you think was the Canuck of the week? No one really stands out.
Not extremely. I'm giving it to Elias Pettersson, though. He's the only guy in my eyes that really looked like he was ready to start this season off the right way. I mean, you could throw Garland and Pods and those guys in that conversation as well. I just feel like Petey has more of a role and needs to be that guy to kind of step up and show these young guys how it's done.
Yeah.
And he's done that. Elias Pettersson.
Not a bad choice. I think for me, I'm kind of going back and forth between 3 different guys here, but I think I want to go with Vasily Podkolzin.
I like it.
I think Pods has been very noticeable in every game.
Yep.
Got on the score sheet in Philly. Set Bo up for 2 glorious chances in Edmonton.
He was finding him everywhere. It was crazy.
Took a puck to the net hard. Got a penalty off it. Drew a penalty.
Yep.
Yeah, Pods, I think, had a good week this week.
Bo just had 0 finish.
Yeah, and right from his bumper spot in the power play too. Normally Bo's pretty money on those.
Yeah.
You can tell he's a little rusty still because from not trying during the preseason.
Yeah.
Mr. Horvat.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else you want to cover, Wes? I think we got
mostly everything in there. It's been a disappointing Canucks week, honestly.
Yeah, man, I wanted so badly to come here 2-0 and be like, fuck yeah, Canucks hockey. And I am still looking forward to every game. We got to race home because both these next 2 games are at 5 o'clock. So right when we're done work, I'm going to be out the door and trying not to miss a shift. But
and one thing that's been really bothering me is all these other Canucks podcasts or people who cover the Canucks. They're always like, oh, no negativity, this and that. Sometimes you need some negativity, you know what I mean, and wake these boys up and let them know, we're disappointed fans out here. We need you guys to do better. And then when we do come up and we do better, we'll be the ones that are the most excited about it because we've been through the slump. Now we're hopefully going the right direction.
I think we try and be as real as possible,
honest.
Right? We're not just here be they tried hard.
Yeah, I hate that shit.
I want wins. I want to see this team win.
Me too.
I want to see him score a bunch of goals. I love I love when the boys are rolling and it's you walk out of a game and it's 6-2 wins, right? And you're just happy and
I always remember that Boston game from 2 years ago where we just blew them out of the water and I'm just yes.
Yeah, I remember sitting there and being they scored their 7th goal. I was I want 8. Give me 8. They scored 8. I'm I want 9. You know what I mean? And it's just it's so much fun. It's way more fun to be winning and we were so bummed out after the game yesterday. We were ragging on JT Miller pretty hard, but not because we hate him, because we love him and we know the player he can be, and it's just so frustrating to see him
go through this.
Yeah, just kind of going through the motions of a game and not let's see some effort.
Yeah,
let's you can go out there after the game and you can tell the media that you're frustrated and talk about how you've been on the ice for every goal, but go do something about it now. Yeah. This is your chance. Have a big game in Washington. Go
next couple games,
Yeah, go score a goal, set up a goal, throw a big hit or something. Show that you're engaged and that you want to win and that you're not just lollygagging around waiting for a puck to come to you.
Yep, and Pods, he's known to be a guy, same with Petey. They're both known to be guys to be the last ones off the ice at practice. Maybe JT Miller needs an extra half hour shooting the puck, making some plays with Kuzmenko, maybe just, you know what I mean? Just mix it up, do something a little bit different, try to get your swagger back because we need you.
And I like the idea of putting him with 2 guys that are rolling. It's kind of tough for Bo. I don't feel like Brock's been bad. Brock is still getting into the swing of things.
Yeah, his passing's been money.
Pearson hasn't been great. So I feel for Bo a little bit because he's getting kind of
shafted again.
But he's got Brock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
like,
here's Tanner Pearson.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that. It's driving me crazy, man. I don't know what Boudreaux sees. Get him off the first two lines. Just do it. Get him off.
But yeah, you can't. Oh, we should also mention Mikheyev, I think, is actually going to play tomorrow in Washington.
I hope so, man. We need a spark of new energy.
Yeah, that
and I think he can bring that.
And especially playing with Petey too, right?
Yep.
Petey will figure out ways to use that speed, whether it's like banking pucks off the board or just tossing a lobber at center ice for Mikheyev to beat everybody on. So
well, and you've seen the couple of the passes that Petey fed to Hoglander, where both of them breaking into the zone fast, and if Mikheyev's that much faster and can just get that much closer to the net and receive that pass, it's more dangerous.
Yeah. So we'll get to the tweet of the week here too. Something else I've been forgetting about.
Mm-hmm.
This usually I try and keep these like kind of funny and like
lighthearted.
This one's just more appropriate. This is from our good friend Thomas Drance at Thomas Drance. Another game, another absurd missed high stick on a Canucks player.
Facts.
Couldn't be more correct, Mr. Drance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'll do it for this week. We'll be back again next Saturday. Hopefully with a couple wins. Definitely a home opener, which will be nice.
And a changed morale in the building.
Yeah, a higher energy podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you like the show, please subscribe. The Canuckleheads podcast on YouTube. Same thing, Canuckleheads podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever there's podcasts, you can find us.
Another one in the bag.